Begin by lying down on your back, bending the knees, placing the feet on the floor as wide as the mat, and letting the knees fall in towards each other so that you can relax all the muscles in the legs. We're going to be doing some strengthening work in the hamstrings and the glutes today, before we move into lengthening them and stretching them out. The hamstrings are, of course, a large muscle group in the body, and if you're anything like me, you may have had some trouble with them over the years. I've started looking at mine as the bodyguards for my body because they're so strong and they always have my back. And I also think that it can be hard for them to let their guard down and soften. So sometimes when we're stretching, they start to fight back. I have found the best approach to be to lean into their strength, to give them a chance to build that trust for me, and then work on releasing them. Take a few more deep breaths here. Walk your feet into hips distance apart, letting your knees come into the same alignment, and step your feet out so that they're about a 3/4 length away from your hips. Place your hands down beside your hips, and on your next inhale, roll the hips up towards the sky in this wide bridge position. Exhale, roll the hips back down. Inhale, roll the hips back up, feeling that engagement firing up in the hamstrings. And exhale, roll the hips back down. A few more of these, moving with your breath. This is a little bit different from your traditional bridge because with the feet further away from the body, we're feeling the engagement more in our hamstrings and less in our glutes, which is exactly what we're looking for right now in this warm-up. On this next one, inhale, roll the hips back up and hold here briefly. On your exhale, walk the right foot in and the left foot in. Inhale, right foot out, left foot out. Keep going with this. Inhale, walk the feet in, and exhale, walk the feet back out. Keeping the gaze up towards the sky and keeping your hips as lifted as possible. The next time you walk your feet out, hold here and think about dragging your feet back towards your body. You can also lift your toes to put the weight more into the heels. We're thinking about energetically pulling the heels all the way to our glutes, but our feet aren't moving. Breathe here. Feel all of that muscle engagement. It can be quite intense. Release the toes back down and release the hips back to the floor. You can stretch your legs out, give them a little bit of a shake, release all of that. Bending the knees and placing the feet on the floor once more, this time in more of a traditional bridge distance, so your knees will be just about over your ankles. And tuck the pelvis and roll the hips back up towards the sky. On your next inhale, release your right foot and stretch the leg, pointing the toes in line with the knee of the other leg. Exhale, place that foot back down. Inhale, switch, release the left foot, stretch that leg out. Exhale, take the foot back down. Again. Inhale, extend the right leg, pointing the toes. Exhale, place the foot back down. Inhale, extend the left leg. Exhale, place the foot back down. Inhale, exhale. Try to keep the hips nice and stable here and as lifted as possible, so really engaging the glutes and the core strength here to do that. Last one here, hold your bridge position, release your arms and point your fingers up to the sky. We'll finish this with pulses. So pulsing the hips up and up. Really squeezing those glutes and feeling the engagement all through the hamstrings, keeping the gaze up towards the sky, infusing our body with that strength, with that energy. Last one here, hold and squeeze. Exhale, release everything back down. Release your arms back to the floor, walk your feet out just a little bit, and stretch the right leg out, pointing the toes. On your inhale, stretch the leg up, pointing the toes towards the sky. Exhale, flex the foot and bring the leg back down. Inhale, right leg comes up. Exhale, come all the way down. Keep going with this. Inhale up. Exhale down. More of a dynamic stretch here, which utilizes the strength in the leg and should be feeling pretty good after that warm-up. We'll do 4 more. On this last one, hold the leg pointed towards the sky, flex the foot, point the foot, move the ankle around in circles, and then release the leg back down to the floor. Switching over to the other side now, extend the left leg out, pointing the toes. Inhale, lift the leg up to the sky. Exhale, flex the foot back down. Keep going with this. Inhale up, exhale down. You have 4 more. Last one, keep the leg up and enjoy some foot and ankle movements before releasing the leg back down to the floor. Stretch both legs out and give them a shake and a tap before making your way up to a tabletop position. Shoulders over wrists and hips over knees. Legs are hip distance apart, and pull up and in through your core to support the lower back. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up towards the sky, pointing the toes. And exhale, bring that knee back down towards the floor. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, down. Keep going with this. Inhale up. Exhale, down. Keeping the gaze just slightly ahead of your hands, down towards the mat. Two more here. On this next one, hold the leg up, exhale, flex the foot, and on your next inhale, squeeze the heel in towards the glute. Exhale, stretch the leg out completely. Inhale, squeeze the heel in, exhale out. We'll go for 6 more. Last one here. Bring the leg back down to neutral and come back into a child's pose. Come back to your hands and knees, and this time come down to your forearms. So interlacing the fingers and making sure that the elbows are shoulder width apart. And extend the right leg behind you, pointing the toes. On your inhale, lift the leg up as high as you can And on your exhale, take a big rainbow motion, crossing it over to the left side of the mat. Inhale, lift the leg back up and cross it all the way over to the right side of the mat. Inhale up, exhale down. So really thinking about drawing a rainbow with your foot through the air. Keep pushing up through the forearms so you're engaging your shoulders and not sinking down. Last one over to the right, and then bring the leg through center, bending the knee and flexing the foot. We'll finish with some pulses, pushing the foot up to the sky. Up and up. 8 more times. Two more, and 1. Hold, point the toes, stretch the leg out, and release it back down next to the left. Back into a child's pose. Moving into the other side now, come up to tabletop, and once you have found your alignment there, lifting your left leg up to the sky, pointing the toes. Inhale here, and exhale, bringing the knee down. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, bring it back down. Gaze towards the mat, slightly ahead of the hands. Really squeeze that glute on the way up there, pointing the toes as much as possible, as high as possible. On this last one, hold the leg up, exhale as you flex the foot. Inhale, draw the heel in towards the glute. Exhale, extend the leg out all the way. Inhale, bring the heel in. Exhale, out. Really feeling a squeeze in the glute and engagement in the hamstring. Last one, inhale in, exhale out. Take that leg back down and bring yourself into a child's pose. Return to tabletop and come back down onto your forearms, interlacing the fingers and extending the left leg behind you this time, pointing the toes. On your inhale, lift the leg up, and exhale, rainbow that leg over to the right side of the mat. Inhale, lift the leg up. Exhale, try to tap the left side of the mat with the toes. And keep moving through this along with your breath. Trying to take the toes out as wide as possible on either side while keeping that engagement through the shoulders. Once more to the left, and then bring the leg through center, keeping it lifted. Bend the knee, flex the foot, and we'll take those pulses one more time. Pulse up and up. 8 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold the leg up, brief moment here before extending it out, pointing the toes, and bringing it back down to the floor. Find yourself in a brief child's pose here. Before tucking the toes, pushing up through the hands, releasing the hips towards the sky for downward dog. You can keep the knees bent here, or you can stretch them, pedal the feet, move the legs around, enjoy the stretch all along the back side of the body. Couple more breaths here. And now look up towards the top of the mat and slowly walk your feet step by step up to meet your hands. Keeping the knees bent, let's take the feet a little bit wider than hips distance apart, holding opposite elbows and letting your upper body just slouch over your bent legs. You can sway side to side, take some deep breaths. Release your hands down to the floor and heel toe your feet a little bit wider, turning the toes outward so that you can come down into a Malasana squat. Staying tall and lengthened through the spine, you can bring your hands to prayer at the center of your chest and use your elbows to motivate those knees outward. Opening up through the hips and the inner legs, the inner hamstrings. Feel free to close the eyes here, allowing for some softening. Hands down to the floor, turn your toes into parallel and lift your hips slightly so you're in a low squat position here. On your next inhale, stretch the legs, keeping the spine long and the weight more in the toes and the tips of the fingers. Exhale, bend the legs, come back down. Inhale, stretch the legs, looking slightly forward. Exhale, come back down. Moving through this dynamic hamstring stretch with our breath. And if you'd like, you can start to walk the fingertips in a little bit closer as you find more of an opening in those muscles. The aim here is to keep the spine straight and thinking about lengthening through the hamstrings and really using the hinge in our hips. Now come up to straight legs and hold a nice forward fold here. Breathe into the stretch. Before releasing the hands, bending the knees and rolling all the way up to stand. Keeping the legs at the same distance, lift your arms up straight above your head. Engage your core up and in, tuck your tailbone slightly. And on your exhale, hinge forward at a 90-degree angle, keeping the legs straight, really lengthening through the arms. And inhale, come all the way back up. Exhale, come down into a halfway fold, arms above the head in line with the ears. Exhale, come up. Again, thinking about keeping the weight a little bit more in the toes and really lengthening up and out through those fingertips. This is a great dynamic stretch that loads the hamstrings and really helps us find flexibility through strength. On this last one, fold over halfway, hold. And on your exhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms back behind you, reaching the hands together. Inhale, come back to that straightforward fold. Exhale, bend the knees, bring the arms back. Inhale and exhale, just two more. Hold this halfway fold, really reach through those fingertips before melting the arms down to the floor, bending the legs and rolling all the way up to stand. Heel toe your feet together and make sure that you're at the top of the mat. This next one will take a little bit of balance, so bring your hands to prayer at the center of your chest and shift your weight more into your left foot so that you can come up onto your right toes and then lift your leg up to a 90-degree angle, keeping those toes pointed down towards the floor. On your inhale, hinge at your hip and float that leg straight and back into a warrior three-leg position. You can drop your arms down towards the floor to find a little bit more of a counterweight, and exhale, come all the way back up to stand. Inhale, hinge at the hips, reach for the floor, keeping the back straight, the toes pointed. Exhale, come back up. You can keep a micro bend in that standing leg if you like. A couple more times here. Move at your own pace to find your balance. The next time you hinge forward and extend the leg behind you, float those toes back to the floor and bend into both legs, coming into a lunge position. Raising the arms up above the head in line with the ears and making sure that the legs are at a 90-degree angle. Inhale here, exhale, shift forward onto the front leg, keeping it slightly bent, and sweep the arms back behind you as you lift the back leg. Inhale, come back to a lunge, and exhale, shift the weight forward, using the strength of the glute and the hamstring to lift the leg, and allowing your arms to gently glide through space as you rely on the strength and stability of your lower body. Last one. Hold, and bring the feet together. Roll yourself back up to stand. Shake off any tension in those legs, and we'll move straight into the other side. Bringing the feet together, hands at heart center, and shifting the weight into the right foot this time, lifting the left toes and floating that leg up to a 90-degree angle. Really engaging the legs of that standing leg. Inhaling here, exhale, hinge at the hips, reach for the floor, stretch the leg and the toes behind you. Inhale, come to stand. Exhale, point the toes, stretch the leg behind you, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, come to stand. The next time you bring your leg back and hinge forward, float those left toes back down to the floor, finding that lunge. Bringing the arms up alongside your ears, reaching the fingers up to the sky, and bending the knees at a 90-degree angle. Slightly tuck the tailbone, feeling the stability in the lower body. Inhaling, and exhale, hinge forward, sweep the arms behind you, lift the leg, point the toes. Inhale, come back to lunge. And exhale, float forward, trusting your balance, trusting your strength. Moving through this a few more times at your own pace. One more here. Exhale, use that to push yourself forward and up. Hold. Bring the feet together and roll your body up to stand. Shaking out any tension. From here, turn to the side of your mat and take a wide stance with your legs. Feet parallel to the front and the back of the mat, toes pointing forward. And bring the hands to prayer at your chest. Moving into side lunges now. Inhale, center. Exhale, bend the right knee and lower yourself down, hips moving back through space. Inhale, push all the way up to center. Exhale, lower to the left side. Using the abductors on the outside of the legs to keep the legs pushing outward, tracking the knees over the toes. And each time you come to sit down in that lunge, really think about moving your hips back. We'll do one more on each side. Coming up through center. Bring the feet in just slightly closer together. Now this time, bend into the right leg. Bend into your right leg again, and this time use the power of your left leg to launch off the right and catch a balance. Come back down into a lunge and push yourself up. See if you can catch a balance on that left leg. You can tap your foot on the floor if you feel like that's where you're at today, or you can try to bring the toes into that knee, using the arms as a counterweight. Maybe hold a balance on the last one here. Unfurl into that lunge once more before coming up to center. We'll move to the other side. Then into the left leg and launch off the left foot, trying to catch a balance on the right leg this time. So it really helps here to pull up through all of our leg muscles and think about this long line of energy from our feet all the way up through the top of our head. That's what's going to help us find our center. Last one, hold. Back down into a lunge and come back through center. Widen the legs a little bit and turn the toes out. Standing tall here, lower your arms in your hands. Inhale, sweep them wide and up above the head. Take the gaze up towards your hands. And as you exhale, bend into the left leg, coming down into Skandasana, flexing the left foot. You can keep your hands on the floor, or you can use your hands at heart center for a little more strength. Inhale, come up through center. Exhale, lower down to the left, flexing the right foot this time. Inhale, right foot to the floor, push through the left leg up to center, and exhale, lower down to the right. Inhale, push up through the right leg, and exhale, come down to the left. As you lower down to the right side this time, hold for a stretch. Breathe naturally. Take your hands down to the floor, keeping the left foot flexed, going as deep, as low as feels good for you. There's an option to keep the hands on the floor here, or you can reach that right arm forward and wide outside the right leg, using the upper arm to push that right knee slightly back, and then extending the left arm straight up towards the sky, taking the gaze towards the left fingers. This can be a pretty deep opening in the hips and the hamstrings, so go where you need to. Bring that left arm back down to the floor, and keeping your hips low and your legs bent, move yourself over to the left side. Whether you're keeping the hands on the floor or taking that reach out to the side and up, really focus on keeping length in your spine, energy moving up and out through the top of your head. Right hand back to the floor and push up to straight legs, turning the toes forward. Feet are parallel. Inhale, halfway lift here to find length in your spine and hinging at your hips. Exhale, fold over your legs to any amount. You might stay up in a halfway lift or walk your hands back in between your feet. You can even walk them further back, stretching your arms out behind you. Really depends on your hamstrings. Take it from me, don't push. Do not push. Keep breathing, bending the knees slightly if you'd like. Wherever you are, come to a halfway lift and then walk your hands over to the right foot, pivoting the toes, coming into a low lunge, framing the front foot with your hands. So dropping the back knee down to the floor, untucking the toes, making sure that the front knee is at a 90-degree angle over that front ankle, and walk your hands up to the top of your knee. Enjoying a stretch here in that left hip flexor along the front side of the body. Keeping the hips as square as possible and engaging the glutes, feeling more of a stretch coming through that left hip flexor. Hands come down to frame the front foot, tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. Reach the right arm long out in front of you in line with your ear. Inhale here, and as you exhale, begin to stretch the right leg, folding over and sweeping your right arm down and all the way back behind you. Keeping the hips as square as possible. Inhale, come back down, sweeping the arm down and forward, and exhale, lift back up. A couple more times with this movement. You can keep your front leg bent. You can also come up onto your fingertips on that left hand. Next time you inhale and find yourself in that starting position, when you exhale, lower the left knee down to the floor, reach the right arm up and back and lift the left foot. See if you can grab the bind. Inhale, bring everything back through center, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Exhale, stretch the front leg and fold over, sweeping the arm back. Inhale, reach the arm forward. Exhale, drop the back knee, reach the right arm up and back, reach for the foot. Inhale through center. Exhale, stretch and fold over the leg. Couple more times here, flowing through this dynamic stretch. Frame the front foot with your hands, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, come back into Skandasana on the right side, and transition over to the left side. Making your way over to a low lunge on the left side now, lowering the right knee, untucking the toes, bringing your hands on top of the left knee, and coming up to enjoy a stretch in the right hip flexor this time. Framing that left foot with our hands this time, tucking the back toes, lifting the knee, and stretching that left arm out in front of us. Inhaling here, exhaling, stretching the front knee, coming up into that forward fold, sweeping the arm back behind you. And inhale, come back to that lunge, flowing through this a few times before we add that bind. Okay, inhale, make your way to that starting position. Exhale, lower the right knee down to the floor, reach the left arm up and back, reaching for that right foot. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, push up and stretch. Last one here. Exhale, stretch that front leg, sweep the arm up and back. Inhale, come through center, arm up and over. Hold the foot for a couple of breaths here. Framing the front foot with the hands, and this time simply bring the right leg in, kneeling the knee next to the left foot, before eventually coming onto one side, onto your glutes, and bringing the legs out in front of you, and coming down to your back, keeping the knees bent. And you can bring your feet like we had them in the beginning, as wide as the mat, and letting your knees fall in towards each other. Taking a moment to neutralize and let all the muscles soften and relax. Bring your knees to your chest. You can either squeeze them in with your hands or your arms. Something I've been enjoying doing is hooking my forearms underneath my knees and letting my legs just hang so lazily. It helps me to find length in my hamstrings as well as my back. Release the left leg down to the floor and hold the right knee as you draw it close in towards you. Shoulders relaxed. Moving into some nerve flossing for the back of the leg here. Stretch the right leg, point the toes up towards the sky. You can hold onto your ankle or your calf and lift your upper body and your head, drawing the chin in towards the chest. On your inhale, flex the foot. Exhale, point the foot. So moving through these two motions with your breath, keeping the chin tucked close in towards your chest. This is a great way to make sure that none of our nerves are compressed. A lot of the times when we're feeling tightness in our hamstring, it can actually be a compressed nerve. But of course, do this at your own discretion. If you're feeling nerve pain here, definitely ease off and relax the leg back down to the floor. Couple more times. Finishing it off with some ankle rotations. Lower the upper body back down. Keep a hold of that leg. Inhale, bend the knee. Keep the thigh as close to the body as possible as you exhale and stretch the knee back out. Inhale, bend the knee back down. And exhale, straighten the leg. Moving through this at your own pace with your own breath a few more times. Let's hold the legs straight, holding behind the ankle, behind the calf, and gently pulling it towards the body with your breath. You can also hold the big toe and flex the foot. You'll feel more of a stretch in the calf and the bottom of the hamstrings. Bend the left leg, placing the left foot on the floor, and release your hold of the right leg. Bend the right leg and place that ankle over top the left thigh, coming into a figure 4. Lift the left foot off the floor, and you can wrap your hands around the back of your thigh or on the front of your shin. Always coaxing that right knee out, feeling a stretch in the outside of the hip, maybe on the sciatic nerve. Let that go, hug the knees to the chest. Right leg comes down to the floor this time as you hug the left knee in towards the chest. Moving into nerve flossing on this side now. Stretch your left leg up to the sky, holding on to whatever is available for you, and lift the shoulders and the head off the floor, tucking the chin. Inhale, flex the foot. Exhale, point the toes. Inhale, flex. Exhale, point. Keep going through this. You might find you have very different ranges of motion on each side. I definitely have very limited range of motion on my left side because I'm currently tending to some hamstring tendonitis, which is what inspired this class. If you have an imbalance in that way, it's totally okay. It's why we do this kind of work. It's why we practice. There's so much that we can learn from injuries, especially reoccurring ones. A couple more here before finishing that off with some ankle rotations. Lower the head and shoulders. Inhale, bend the knee, thigh to the chest. Exhale, stretch the leg, keeping the thigh as close to the body as possible, or not, whatever feels good. I'm going to take it super easy on this side because my hamstring is asking me to, and this is where it's really important to listen. Is it straining or is it stretching? Holding the leg still, either bent or straight now for a couple more breaths. Bend the right leg, right foot to the floor. Release your hands and take that left ankle over the right thigh, coming into a figure 4. Lifting the right foot off the floor now, holding behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Shoulders relaxed. Drawing that leg in closer to the chest, encouraging the left knee out. Release all of that. We're going to need some room behind us for plow, so you might want to scoot yourself closer to the front of the mat. Lying on your back, keep the arms down next to your side. feet lift up as you make your way back into plow. Really important at this point that you keep your gaze up towards the sky. Do not gaze towards the screen. And keep the back of your neck long against the floor. So try not to crunch your chin in towards your chest. Keep that length. As you roll your feet up and back behind you, trying to make contact with the floor with the tips of your toes, finding length in the spine, height in the hips. Option to bend the knees as well, relaxing them down next to your ears, tops of the feet come down to the floor. Wherever you are, enjoy a couple last breaths. Making your way out of that, start with the upper back rolling back down to the floor, the middle back, thighs close to the body, and the lower back. Keeping the toes, the feet pointed up to the sky. Finish off here with a good shake of the legs so the muscles can completely relax, imagining them falling away from the bones and softening. Feet down to the floor as wide as the mat, knees bent, and let them fall in towards each other. Taking these last moments of class to let your hamstrings do nothing. Let them do nothing. Thank them, appreciate them. Enjoy Shavasana for yourself. Take care.